Hi, everyone. I'm Janice Johnson. I'm the Assistant Dean of Students for Residences, and I am sitting in my home office, aka my guest bedroom. I'm working from home today. I'm juggling between working from home and helping to homeschool my 11-year-old, who's outside playing right now while I do this, and being on campus to be there for the staff that are still there and that are working to support our students and residents. So this video is about some of the things we wanted to share about what's going on in residences right now, addressing a little bit the past decisions we made in response to COVID-19, what's happening right now for the students who are still living with us during this pandemic, and maybe a little bit of what the future might look like. And I've brought together a few folks from residents who are able to help provide some insight into what has changed in our residences, what has stayed the same, how COVID has impacted our communities. So I'm going to pass it over to Caitlin now.
I'm McLeod. I'm the Supervisor of the Education and Leadership Office in Residence Life. So I'm working today in my office in the Residence Life House, which is located close to International House. And my office typically coordinates things like orientation, training for RAs, and service learning programs. And maybe I'll toss it over to Thelma.
My name is Thelma John. I am the current RC, or the current residence coordinator from Kelsey Hall. I am actually filming from my unit inside Lister right now. So I'm working from home, but luckily my home is where I work. And that's that.
My name is Eunah. I'm an RA with East Campus. I'm currently in the Res Life House office, but I live in Hub Mall.
So Eunah and Thelma, as two of the folks who are still living in residence right now, we know that life on campus and in residence looks pretty different today than it did a month ago. I'm wondering if you would maybe speak a little bit about what your experience has been both before and after COVID.
Sure. So one of the reasons I was really drawn to Hub Mall was that it was such a great community. It's very central on campus. There's a lot of people walking through the buildings. There's a LRT station. The libraries are connected. So I really love that aspect and having a home away from home, especially as an international student. I think one of the hardships of going through COVID on residence was that suddenly so many of my friends and so many residents had to leave. So it's kind of weird getting used to the quietness of Hub.
Yeah, Hub really is quite a interesting and unique residence community. And as we know in residences, so much of the connection is the social connections that you make and the support from friends. And it was really, really a hard decision to ask students who were able to go home so that we could, as they say, de-densify residences.
And I mean, thinking of quieter buildings, I was in Lister this morning and I saw some folks going, up and down the dining hall, some folks chatting at the front desk, but it was definitely a lot quieter than during the typical academic year when we still have students kind of around the spaces. Thelma, I'm curious, living in Lister right now, if you've noticed a lot of that change as well.
Yeah, I think definitely I've noticed a change, especially living here. In the evenings, if I stepped out, I would see people going to watch a dodgeball game or going to go socialize in the caf, and that looks very, very different now, notably dodgeball. It's a presence. A presence has changed. A lot of Lister is about the people that you're seeing as you're just going to get snacks, or going to study with people, and that definitely feels very different. I think for students and then as well for RCs.
I think one of the biggest changes that happened so rapidly was the limiting of gatherings and public spaces and kind of this push for physical distancing as a really great preventative measure. And as an office that coordinates a lot of large scale programs, some of that uncertainty or having to reimagine our events that we would typically hold at the end of the year or in the fall, not necessarily knowing what those look like. I think that's led to a lot of creativity, but a lot of unique challenges that way too. And so I'm curious, Eunah, in Hub as an RA, kind of what has that led for your role? What does programming look like as an RA now? Has any of that changed?
Our role hasn't changed too much as an RA. We're still checking in with our residents, and some of the RAs have left, so residents might now have a different RA, but we are doing programming. It looks a little bit different. A lot of them are now online. So, for example, some of the programs we've had in Hub were a paint night where residents could pick up their paint supplies and do it from their own room, but everyone would paint together. We've done some workout dance videos so they could dance from their own rooms, but still see each other do it. And we've also created an Instagram page called Humans of Hub. So this is really cool because it shows that even though residents, don't always get to see each other anymore, they still can connect with each other through our new platform there. So yeah, the role hasn't changed too much, but online programming does look a little bit different.
That's awesome. And I think that's what we like, knowing that the REs are still programming, knowing that there's still, the maintenance, the housekeeping staff, the front desk staff, there's all these, key players coming together to help support students who are still living with us on campus. In terms of being an RC residence coordinator right now, Thelma, and some of those supports and programs, what does that look like for you?
Things have definitely changed on our end as well. Usually RCs will meet with students, have them come into our office and chat with us in that sense. And that's definitely changed. We're also moving either to like Google Meets or to phone calls, but we're still doing our best to like support student wellness in that sense. We know that a lot of the university services are still open. So whether that's like the health center, campus or clinical, finances, things like that. But we still want to be there to provide support for students, especially as like they're living in a residence that looks a lot different than what they're used to or what they would have been expecting. So really just trying to keep in contact as much as we can. The Lister RCs are also doing a scavenger hunt right now. So encouraging people to like get out of their rooms and go on campus, still practicing physical distancing, but letting people know that like taking care of yourself and being part of like the world as a whole is still very, very important, especially in this time.
I really have to acknowledge the amazing community supports and connections that folks like Eunah and Thelma are providing. Residence is such a strong and resilient community. It really is a wonderful place. And the future of residences is still kind of uncertain, or at least the future of what our communities are going to look like in the fall. We don't know what the future holds. I don't have a crystal ball. Amazon hasn't delivered it yet. But residences will still be there for students who need residences. It's what we do, and it's why we're here. Obviously, we'll continue to follow the recommendations and guidelines set out by the government and Alberta Health Services. But I'm actually really quite hopeful for what the future brings. This experience has helped us to like explore new skills and new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking about community. I really want to thank all of the residents, the student leaders, the staff who've come together over the past few weeks to provide information to help us in making these decisions and to support our residents' community and help to keep our community safe. The amazing folks that you've met in this video remain here and will be here going forward. They are key contributors to your educational experience, and we will be here for you next year as we're here for you right now. I'd just like to thank Thelma, Caitlin, and Eunah for contributing to this video and sharing the work that they're doing in our communities, and I hope to see you all in residence next year.